The Scriptorium of Oakhaven. In the town of Oakhaven, the mail didn't bring letters, it brought legacies. Every citizen eventually found a leather-bound book on their doorstep with their name embossed in gold. Most people cherished them, reading up to the very last line of their present day before tucking the volume away. They knew that to flip one page further was to see the hour and the cold manner of their end. Alara, however, watched the deliveries with a curled lip. To her, a life pre-written was a life already lost. While others obsessed over their personal volumes, Alara sought a different truth. She spent her afternoons in the school library, a place of dust and stifled coughs. She was convinced that if the books existed, there must be a draft, a master copy that dictated the town's clockwork existence. She didn't believe in fate. She believed in a cosmic ledger that could be edited if one was clever enough to find the pen. Hidden behind a false panel in the reference section, Alara found it, the Oakhaven Chronicle. It was a massive, pulsating volume bound in skin-soft vellum. It hummed with a low, rhythmic vibration that felt like a second heartbeat. When she opened it, she didn't find old history. She found the now. The ink was fresh, smelling of iron and salt, and the words were appearing in a delicate script as she watched. Alara reaches out, her fingers trembling as they brush the edge of the parchment. The book read. Alara pulled her hand back as if burned. The ink shimmered and shifted. She hesitates, wondering if the book knows her thoughts as well as her movements. It was terrifyingly reactive. It wasn't just recording her life, it was a conversation. Every choice she considered appeared as a faint, ghostly sentence before she even made it. She heard a frantic shuffling from the next aisle. It was Kalen, a boy from her biology class. He was clutching his personal book to his chest, his eyes bloodshot and wide. He didn't see Alara. He was too busy whispering to himself, begging the air for more time. Alara looked back at the Master Chronicle. Kalen's name appeared on the opposite page, the ink pooling in a dark, jagged blotch. The Chronicle began to write Kalen's chapter in real time. Kalen stands, convinced that if he leaves the library now, he can avoid the shadow in the hallway. Alara watched Kalen rise, his movements mirroring the text perfectly. He was a puppet dancing to the rhythm of the scratching, invisible quill. The tragedy wasn't that the future was set, but that the characters were too afraid to deviate from the script. Alara looked back at her own page. The text for today was still being written, the sentences trailing off into an empty white void. She realizes the power of the blank space, the book whispered through its ink. Alara felt a coldness spreading from her chest. The book was inviting her to act, but every action she took simply became the next line of the story. She was trapped in a feedback loop of her own making. The air in the library grew thick and heavy, like breathing through wool. Alara turned the page, hoping to find tomorrow, but the paper was blank. Not just for her, but for everyone. The Chronicle ended at the final hour of today. A slow burn panic set in. The town wasn't just being narrated. The story was reaching its conclusion. The ink began to flow faster, turning the white pages into a sea of black. From the darkness of the high rafters, a figure descended. It was Mr. Thorne, the librarian, though he looked different now, taller, his fingers stained a permanent midnight black. He held a long, sharpened quill made from a shadow. He didn't look like a villain. He looked like an editor who had finally reached the final draft. The problem with skeptics, Thorne whispered, is that they always want to see the ending before they've finished the journey. Thorne reached over Alara and pressed the quill to the bottom of the current page. The ink hissed against the vellum. The final sentence of the day began to form, the words curling around Alara's name like a noose. And as the sun dips below the horizon, the skeptic realizes that the writer was never the enemy. The silence of the unwritten page was. The book slammed shut, and the library lights flickered out,